All right, people, welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. I repeat, welcome to Live with Ms. Steph. Today is May 13, 2025. Folks, we are continuing our adventure of going live every day on Instagram, live and or giving you some type of video content over here on Instagram. If you're interested, go ahead and go over to my YouTube channel to catch the Veda content on replay. Once again, I was posted a video every day in the month of April 2025, just last month. Every day I posted a video. It may have been a short, but a video was over there every day. And now, as I said, in May, we're over here on Instagram giving you some content. And so one of the things I thought of for today, one, I do need to update you on what's going on with our rain location, because we do. Hi, thank you for watching Live with Ms. Steph. Yes, we do have an update for this Saturday's event, as well as I want you to be able to see another behind the scenes moment. So once again, this is a behind the scenes moment. I am always telling y'all about how I make sure that no matter how many times I've done an activity or an experiment, that I tested with the materials that I have on hand to make sure that things are in place, that things work out. And I'm actually going to show you the fail that I had earlier today and why I did it. And we'll talk through a little bit, very briefly and quickly, hopefully, why I do these things. You'll get to see what happened. I'm going to redo the fail for you. And I'll talk to you just a bit more about what that looks like in kind of my life, right? And how that impacts the work that we do over here at Ms. Steph Science Club, providing hands-on, high-quality hands-on STEAM education through camp, classes, community, and consulting. So let's hop into the update. We do have a new, remember, just yesterday, or was it Sunday? Regardless, we didn't have a rain location for Saturday for our Science in the Park event. Whenever you do events in the park, you and I both know that when you're looking at any rain percentage over 25%, it's always good to have a rain location. And so our rain location originally was Wadley, which is our regular Saturday Science Club location. But guess what? Wadley has construction happening. Things happen. It's a public school building. Things happen. Guess what? We have one of our traveling science teacher partners is allowing us to use their space. Here's the deal, though. I'm not releasing the location publicly. One, just because the location is particularly small and I don't want everybody rolling up to that location in confusion. So if you're interested in coming this Saturday, go ahead and let me know. Send me an email. I've got my email here. My email address is in lots of places on the interwebs, y'all. So you can send me an email and let me know that you're planning on coming, so that should we decide to activate, everybody say activate, say it, activate our rain location, you will be notified. I will make sure that you are aware. So all you have to do is send me an email and let me know that you're interested in attending, so that I make sure that if we, like I said, need to activate the rain location, you will be notified. So yes, again, more behind. So that's that is a behind the scenes thing. It's an update, but it's also a behind the scenes reality of running a nonprofit, running a community facing and supporting an engaging organization. If it rains, we need to have a plan for all of these things that happen outside. Because trust, I have been caught in the rain more than one time. Even last year, funny story. Let's do a quick little story time. Quick little story time. Last year, I was so excited because for Science in the Park, which is the same event, and we had it around the same time. It was on May 18th. And actually, we happened to pass out kits last year is what we decided to do for that for various reasons. It ebbs and flows as far as what we actually do for families and for students at Science in the Park. We've passed out fun, we've passed out snacks, we've done all kinds of things over the years. And it's kind of shifted its date, but it's mostly typically in May. Last year, I was so excited, I bought us a tent. Or rather, our supporters provided us with enough to purchase a tent. And so we had a tent for all of our outdoor things. Like I said, this is story time. I don't know if I told you I was going to be short or not, but whatever, let's keep it moving. So on it, we had great volunteers. Shout out to the volunteers that helped for the 2024 Science in the Park. Went off without a hitch. Fantastic. We used the tent for the first time. We all worked together to make the tent happen and everything. It went up. It was great. When they tell you, for those of us, I'm always trying to teach y'all, even through my fails, because science, right? This is how scientists work. It's always something that you can learn from things not going well, right? So went perfectly fine. We were good on May 18th. At Kids Fest, which y'all know we do every year, and we will be doing it again this year. At the Kids Fest that was on the Friday, because Kids Fest is actually 3 different days. We do 2 of the days. At the Friday Kids Fest, there was sun for the majority of the time. And then, now mind you, I put the tent up pretty much by myself. I put it up pretty much by myself, and I did not have the weights and stuff that are suggested. I kind of had it kind of sort of anchored, but not really. So your girl is just having a great time, la 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 la. The tent is protecting me from the hot. All of a sudden, the weather turns. And when I say turns, if y'all ever been outside, for those of us who've traveled the world and been to a myriad of tropical environments where it's one of those situations where the rain all of a sudden just whoosh. So not only did the rain just come down, now had it just been that, it would have been okay. But it was giving mild hurricane. And so the wind was coming. The tent flew up over your girl head and flew all the way into the middle of one of the grassy areas over at Marcus Garvey Park. And it was done. I was already packing up my cart because I have a big old huge cart that I use to haul all this stuff back, my table, my everything. When I say I was drenched by the time I got in the cab and everything, because the rain was just coming down. It was not umbrella. It was not your tent could take care of you. The tent flew up over Miss Stephanie, y'all. And an individual did help me, and they were like, "Oh, that's like trash." No, it's not. No, it is not. Your girl used that tent the very next day in Harlem because it was perfectly sunny. It was fine. But when I say I anchored properly, and I had it tied to a tree and tied to the ground and tied to other things and had weights on and all that type of stuff, and it was totally fine. And we were fine. So quick little story time. So that's one of the reasons why I tell y'all about the things that don't go well. 1, so that you can learn from it. 2, so that you don't feel by yourself like you're the only person that these things happen to. And 3, to let you know that we still keep it moving here at Ms. Steph Science Club. Ms. Steph Science Club, we have been through some things, but that does not mean that we do not persevere. Okay? So, this thing that I'm about to show you has happened to me while I was out of sight because I did not test my materials in advance. And so let's talk about why your elephant toothpaste, I repeat, why your elephant toothpaste is not working and is not giving. Okay. Bring y'all down a little bit. There. See? I want to bring you down low enough. So I was out and about with a friend yesterday. Thank you to that friend. She knows who she is. We're doing a little walking, getting in the steps because it was not doing what it's doing outside right now. Yesterday I was like, oh, it's sunny. Let's go for a walk. Again, same reason why we have a rain plan for Saturday. These flasks. But yeah, I was telling her that I wanted to pick up some peroxide because I needed to test everybody say test, okay, some of the materials. Now the peroxide is not the thing that I need to test because the peroxide is fresh. So one of the things that might be going on with your elephant toothpaste, if your elephant toothpaste is not giving, your peroxide is not fresh. That's number one, okay, which obviously is not going to be our situation today because I just bought that. Like I just cracked that open earlier today. And I did do some testing, which is why I know that I needed to reorder. And I went ahead and I ordered the materials before coming on live with y'all. Now, other things that might not be working. And again, I'm going to show you what it looks like when your enzyme, okay, or your catalyst is not functioning the best. Because there is an enzyme in the yeast version of it. In the potassium iodide version, you're using a catalyst. Okay? Now, is an enzyme to a degree, does it function kind of sort of as a catalyst? For higher level science, yes, they are different things, which is why I call them different names. But as far as your elementary school folk, the things that you're most you care most about is the freshness of each of the materials, except for your soap and your food coloring. Those don't need to be fresh. However, your soap does need to have enough surfactant in it to make sure you're going to be able to get your nice bubble situation. Okay? So I'm going to show you two versions. One version is going to be the catalyst version where I'm using the potassium iodide, which comes in a powder form. And I'm also going to use the powder form of my yeast, which should let you know whether or not stuff is working. Okay. Yes, both of these function best when they are in warm water. However, when you're just doing the test to see whether or not it will give and whether or not you need to order or go buy or whatever new supplies, new materials, fresh materials, the powder form is fine. Okay? So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put down my soap. Again, the soap does not need to be freshly purchased, even though my soap is, okay? Because I wanted it to be. You can also make sure that you're using the right shaped container. Another thing that might be happening is you don't have the right container. Again, this is to make sure your elephant toothpaste does what you want it to do. Elephant toothpaste is the breakdown of hydrogen peroxide in the presence of a catalyst and a surfactant, as in a soap. Okay? That's what's happening on a molecular level. That's what's going on when you're talking about trying to, what's happening science-wise, right? As far as understanding the science behind it and why you would bother doing this in class, okay? What is it that you want your students to see, okay? Soap, you have to have enough soap in there. You see how I've got a decent and pretty decent amount of soap, okay? Other things, your food coloring, if it is not a highly pigmented food coloring, I strongly prefer the gel food coloring for this investigation, for this demo. Okay, most of the time when you're doing it with your students, it's probably going to be in the demo form of stuff. Okay, you see how strong that is? That's my gel food coloring. This is my like cake decorator strength food coloring. Okay, this is, you know, very intense pigment. Now I'm going to let's tilt you back and down even more. Okay, here are the things that could be really the things that the two things that are most likely going to be going wrong. What will cause the thing that's most likely to cause a fail, full on no payoff when you're doing your elephant toothpaste with your students, with your kids at home, whatever. One, remember, like I said, not having fresh peroxide. I'm using the 3%. This is the stuff that you can get in the store. Okay. Now, I, as a steam extraordinaire, and yes, I said it, okay, when I'm doing demos outside and all that type of stuff, I'm going to use the 12%. But that, you need to be real careful with that. Okay, I use the 12% peroxide, and that is one of the things that I did order. Okay, and that I order. I've not seen a place to where I can get 12% peroxide. Okay, now you see this big old container of yeast that I have, and it is the dry instant yeast. Okay. Okay, and I've got 2 sets of my potassium iodide here. I'm going to be very careful with my eyes and very careful with my fingers when I'm dealing with the potassium iodide. You know how I say most of my experiments, even though people are, you know, kind of nervous about it, most of my stuff can be done with little children? Absolutely not. When it comes to, that's why I have I'll purchase 2 different sets of materials for elephant toothpaste. I do not do the potassium iodide version or the version of elephant toothpaste that has the 12% with the little children. No, she doesn't. Okay. So again, remember I said, just to see whether or not stuff is working, to see whether or not it's been sitting too long, and it's, you know, is it still active, all that type of stuff, still use the dry. This is a lot. I actually don't want that big old piece. And yes, I said big old piece. Right? That's a lot I want. Because you're going to mix it in solution. So it's more realistic that it would have about that much. Okay? The yeast. The yeast you're going to just use an ignorant amount. You don't have to measure it as much. It's not. You do need it to be enough. But because these are catalysts and enzymes, the amount, like they kind of regenerate is the best way that I can say it for kind of the lay non-scientist people in the room. Okay. You see how carefully I'm doing that? I'm pouring it away from my eyes because even though it's 3%, it's still hydrogen peroxide. Okay, and it will still react hydrogen peroxide bubbles when it comes into contact with mucosa because it's breaking down protein. It breaks protein down. That's why it does that. So we don't want it to come into contact with open skin or anything like that. Now, do your students need to wear gloves and all that type of stuff? No. You just, again, the yeast and 3% situation is what we're going to do. Yes, I am using 3% with my potassium iodide because I just want to see whether or not my potassium iodide is going to give me any type of reaction. The potassium iodide is going to turn it a yellowish color because when that bond breaks, I'm getting into some like really sciencey stuff, but this is what I have to give y'all. If you want to understand why your elephant toothpaste is failing, I need to give you the science behind it. The potassium iodide, when it goes into solution and when it does the reaction that we want it to do, the iodine and the potassium are separating. Iodine, as we know, is what color? The yellowish brownish situation. Okay, so I'm going to actually do, remember this is hydrogen peroxide. This is not water. We don't want kids playing around like they're going to drink it or anything like that. Be extremely careful when you're working with these materials. Okay. You're going to see me do something that you don't want the kids to do. You're going to do it. Swirl. Notice my face is back and everything. This shape, or the plastic water bottle shape, is the best shape for this reaction. It is phenomenal. It gives it, because the pressure of it condensing and then it going up, you get the true elephant toothpaste thing. As you can see, I'm already demonstrating the fail. That's way too slow. That's not how slow that reaction should be. And I understand some of y'all are like, but your yeast was dry. And I guarantee you, I have done this with dry yeast before. Remember, I test all of my stuff out. But you see how slowly that's moving? Absolutely not. And it is most likely, because remember, my soap is fresh, the food coloring is strong enough, all that. It's most likely due to the yeast. The yeast is a year old. I bought it around this time last year. I do all my activities around the same time. And just because I have all that yeast left, I need to use that yeast for another experiment. I cannot use it for this. The payoff, you see how slow that payoff is? That's not elephant toothpaste proper. Okay? All right. Now let's come over here. This is, remember, this is our situation with the potassium iodide in there. It's been sitting there for a while. Swirl. Especially the one with the potassium iodide should really react. Additionally, the potassium iodide is the catalyst that is so strong that it really it works better with the higher concentration peroxide as well. So this low concentration peroxide is not great with, but still it's enough to where I should be able to test my chemicals to see whether or not they've expired. And there's different ways that chemicals expire, but which I won't go into today. But see, fail. These are both fails in my opinion. This is not what I would come to do with my students. And this is just experience at this point of doing this reaction over and over again. I know what it should do. Yes, it should do this. It should do it a lot faster. You see all that yeast I put in there? I put in like almost a whole teaspoon of yeast. It should have really done more than that. Okay. This will react. So the issue I have with this is the speed, because technically the reaction is happening, but it is nowhere near as fast as it's supposed to happen, nor as abundant as it should happen, because the extra oxygen that hydrogen peroxide has on it in comparison to water, or rather the additional oxygen, should cleave off as soon as it interacts with the two things, either the yeast, which is catalyst, or the potassium iodide, which is the other way. yeast, which has an enzyme in it called catalase, okay, is the best way I can describe that. And the potassium iodide, which is the catalyst, meaning it makes the reaction go faster. The reason this is in the brown bottle, and the reason why I say buy fresh, is because the reaction does naturally happen. Peroxide does break down. That's why peroxide is not as effective on any other use after you leave it for like 6 months, because it does break down. This is why I don't even bother anymore to like say peroxide from 6 months ago or more. The yeast I might try, even though most years I know it doesn't work, but I still try it just in case. Okay. Thank you for watching live, Miss Steph. Yeah, I'm coming on demonstrating a fail so that you don't have to do it yourself. But long story short, when you're doing elephant toothpaste, 2 things. If you're doing it yourself and you are a child, absolutely you need parent or adult supervision. This very often I'll say, oh, y'all can try different things or whatever. This particular activity, I do not suggest doing it unsupervised or letting your children attempt to do this unsupervised. Absolutely not. There are too many chemicals in it that can hurt the children or give them like kind of like a light chemical burn. Like this is a major, y'all know, respect, safety, learning, fun. And I respect you enough to help you be safe. Okay? So fresh, one reason it might fail. So let's go through these things. Reasons your elephant toothpaste is failing. You don't have fresh hydrogen peroxide. 1. Reason your elephant toothpaste is failing. 2. You don't have a strong enough surfactant. Okay, the surfactant is the thing, is typically a soap. Okay, SLS is going to be the best type of soap. This happens to be a biodegradable soap, but if you put enough in it, it'll still do it. Okay, if you don't have enough or a high quality enough surfactant to where the bubbles can be captured and be suspended, the oxygen can be suspended in those bubbles, suspended in the surfactant, is not going to do it. So fresh peroxide soap. I'm almost done, y'all. About to finish out. Depending on whether or not you how you want to do this, your food coloring, peroxide lifts color. So you need to have a high quality peroxide. That's 3. 4th reason, if you're doing the yeast one, which the yeast version is the version I strongly suggest everybody do, unless you're in a lab and you like really are knowledgeable and you can do the safety things. The yeast in the 3% or the 6% version is the one you need to be doing. You need to use instant dry yeast. The instant one reacts quicker. It's failing, as in not going fast enough or not creating the reaction at all, because your yeast is old. Yeast gets old. Period. Okay. 5th and final reason, you've gotten spicy and you decided that you were going to try it with the potassium iodide. Your potassium iodide is old and has too much water in it because it's been sitting in the environment too long and it's not functioning, which is what we're getting here. Yeah, you see, it did a little something there. 6th and bonus reason, you decided to be spicy and you decided to buy potassium iodide, but you didn't use a high enough concentration peroxide with it. That's another reason that it did not react. So people, it's been fun. Remember, we have a rain location for Saturday. If you're joining us on Saturday, please go ahead and send me a notice, an email, so that I know to be in communication with you. and to make sure that you know where we're at should we need to activate. Okay, I like that word, activate. Okay, should we need to activate our rain location, I want to make sure that you are notified and know where we are at. And the rain location does have limited spots, space, because it's a rain location, we'll be inside. And it is one of our center sets on the smaller side of things in comparison to just the different locations that I go to throughout the week. And your elephant toothpaste is possibly failing because of the 5 things that I mentioned. Okay? Thank you for watching Live with Ms. Steph. This has been Live with Ms. Steph. I invite y'all to watch the replay if you're just now joining us, and to find out how you can make your elephant toothpaste amazing and how to avoid the fails that happen when doing elephant toothpaste. All right? Thank you for watching, and have an absolutely wonderful day.